All right, let's see if this works. So what you're looking at on my screen is an app that I built for a friend. And I did not code the app. Instead, I asked a tool called Lovable to code it for me. And it built this entire app in less than a minute. So what this app does is it allows you to open a video or upload a video like I just did and click Analyze. And it gives you feedback on the video in terms of how well you are speaking. And I did this because a friend of mine is a speaking coach, and he was telling me about how he allows his clients to send him videos and he gives feedback on on those videos. But because he has so many clients, it takes him a lot of time to do this manually. And I said, well, why don't we build an app that does it using AI? And so here, what you're seeing is the AI is analyzing the video and it's going to give feedback. And I set it up in such a way that it uses my friend's expertise and knowledge from past analyses to customize it to your video and give you really good feedback on what you did. So here you go, a full breakdown of my video. It is, it's figured out that it's a talking head video, that I'm using a professional microphone, but there are areas it could improve, like the lighting and so on, which I have hopefully in this video you're watching right now. And it also gives feedback on the pacing, delivery, tone, and so on, maintaining eye contact, gestures. And so all of this is to show you how this normally would take a professional developer to a few hours, maybe a couple of days to build. And I did it in less than a minute. I'm not a professional developer. I do know how to code, but I didn't use any code. I didn't even look at the code. I simply explained what I wanted in natural language to Lovable, and Lovable built the app for me. And with one click, I could just publish it to the internet. So my friend can now take the public link, send it to his clients. They can upload it. They'll get feedback instantaneously, and it's all customized based on his expertise and experience. So he's able to deliver the same service, but a lot faster and better, both for his client and for himself. So this brings me to the overall point of this video, and it's this rise of what I'm calling software as a prompt, where if you are, let's say you're a business owner and you're using a CRM app that has 50 different features and you're paying $50 a month for it, but you only really need like 5 or 6 features. You only just need the contact information feature or the deal management feature. Well, you can build your own app that does specifically that, and you can cut the cost of that app, of that software, that the CRM software that you're using. The other thing is, if you are, say, just in your personal life, if you're paying subscriptions for dozens of apps on your phone, well, you don't really need to be paying $10-20 for like 5 different apps each. If you have you're paying $10 a month for a calorie tracker, you could have a tool like Lovable build it for you, and you have it for free now, and you could just personally use this. So in this video, I'm going to show you 3 products: Replit, Bolt, and Lovable, which is what you're seeing on my screen, and how you can simply talk to these apps and have them build you a custom software for your needs. So whether it's a personal need that you have and you just want to get rid of expensive subscriptions, or you're a business owner and you want to create some new functionality that you've not been able to find software for, this video is for you. And it's about the upcoming wave of disruption we're going to see in the software space, because traditional SaaS has been dominating the scene for decades now. And with AI, anyone can build a custom app, and they don't have to go with a traditional bloated SaaS anymore. So watch the video, see how it all works. And if you have an idea for an app that you've always wanted to use for yourself, if you're tired of spending a lot of money on existing apps and you just want like core features, hopefully this video will help you build that all for yourself. So I'm here on the home screen of Lovable, and as you can see, it says an idea to app in seconds. Lovable is your superhuman full stack engineer. So essentially, what you do is you describe an app. Let's say, and the way I like to describe these apps, I think the prompt matters here, is to tell Lovable, or whatever tool you're using, your full context. So in this example, I am a consultant, and I want a simple CRM to manage the deals. So I want to be able to capture contact information, and I want to also capture what I've promised the client and deliverables and due dates. And so I'm just speaking to the computer here. I'm using a software called Whisperflow, which transcribes my voice into text. As you can see, it's showing up here. And I'm just describing what I need. So I've given it some context that I'm a consultant and I need a CRM, and I'm allowing the app to sort of figure it out on its own. So as you can see, Lovable is doing its thing. And over here on the left-hand side of the panel, you can see that it's kind of like a chat situation where I'm chatting with Lovable. And on the right-hand side, it's the preview of the app it's building. So I love the idea of creating a simple CRM. Let's build a clean functional CRM. And so it's kind of like figuring out what a CRM needs. I don't need to describe specifically that a CRM needs to have contact information and deal status and tracking and, columns and so on and so forth. I'm not telling it to specifically what needs to be there. I'm letting Lovable figure it out on its own. And so it's kind of just like thinking through and doing that, and then it's sort of writing the app for me. And so when it creates an app, typical apps have multiple pages. You have a page which contains all your design code. Your page contains some of the logic. You have a page that contains front-end components. And then, of course, there's also the back end of the app where it's like the database, the hosting, all of that kind of stuff. And so Lovable is trying to figure out all of this for me based on that simple prompt. And as it does that, it's going to show up on the preview on the right-hand side. So it might take maybe a minute or so. I'm just going to like pause the video and come back to it when it's done. Okay, so I'm back, and that took a little more than a minute, probably like 2 to 3 minutes. But as you can see here on the right hand side, it's generated this full app, full featured, right? Like it's got a nice dashboard here showing me an overview of my contacts, active deals, deal value, upcoming deliverables, recent deals. I can click into contacts to see my contacts. I can go into like each specific contact with company name, position, email, phone number, notes. I can edit it or delete it. I can see what deals or deliverables are associated with this contact. I can also go into the deal view, see all the deals, and then again go into each deal and see the contacts and deliverables associated. And then I can go to the deliverables and I can see all of these that are overdue, pending, which deal is it related to, like a description for it as well. I can mark them as complete, or I can edit or delete them. And so full-fledged app with all of these different pages, and I can add new contacts, I can add new deals, I can add new deliverables, and they are linked to one of the deals as well. And there's like due dates and stuff. So it's amazing. It's like, it's a full-fledged CRM. I didn't even have to describe how I wanted to build it out or how I wanted to link them. It figured it out on its own. I just said, look, I want to track my contacts. I want to track some deals that I have with these contacts, and I want to track the deliverables that I have for each deal. And this is something that I, as a small business owner, if I'm facing these problems every day, I would know. So I was able to describe it in just one sentence really, and it built out something very, very close to what I would need. Now, the next step here for me is if this is something that I want to deploy into my personal business, say as a consultant, then, maybe I'd be like, okay, well, I often also I like to take notes, capture like my emails, right? And so I can ask Lovable here. I can say, hey, can you integrate into my Gmail and track the emails I'm having with each of these contacts? So it syncs the emails and I can see the conversation history as well with each contact. And Lovable is actually going to go and do that. It's going to create that integration. I'm not going to show it here because there's a bunch of steps involved with like doing a Gmail integration. I'll have to create like a Google app and get like an API key and all that. But the fact is, even without that, I have a full-fledged app that I can use personally, and I can actually track the stuff. And if I wanted to, I could publish this online so that I have a link for me to go to and access it any day, like I would a regular CRM. And I can add and track my contacts and deals. And now I can cancel my CRM because I'm using this instead, right? So that's kind of like a quick overview of how Lovable works. If you want, you can also view all the code it's created. So as you can see here, a bunch of code, various different pages. I have linked my GitHub, so I can actually view this on my GitHub profile, and I can deploy it to the internet. The other thing here is Lovable connects with Supabase, which is a database. And so if I'm going to be tracking all of my deals, contacts, and deliverables, it needs a place to store them. And so it automatically sets up a Superbase database for me and does that. Now, I've previously already created an account in Superbase and GitHub, and so it was easy to do it for me. It does it instantly, but if you're using Lovable for the first time, you should set up your GitHub and Superbase as well, so that when you use Lovable, it syncs with that and sets up your database automatically. All right, so Lovable isn't the only one that can do this. There are a couple of other really good softwares out there that allow you to turn your idea into a full-fledged app. Another popular one is Replit, and so I'm going to just give it the same prompt and see what happens here. So you click Start Building, and again, I'm just letting the app figure out what I want based on the context I've given it. I'm a consultant. I want a simple CRM to manage deals, capture contact information, and also deliverables and due dates. And I'm going to let it figure out the relationship between these various entities and how, figure out best practices for creating a small business CRM. So here you can see that it's giving me a plan. Build the initial prototype, and then here's a cool thing about Replit is that it gives you suggestions for additional features. So do I want a database integration for storage? Sure, yeah. This is kind of like PostgreSQL is a different database than Superbase. Email notification system for upcoming deliverables. Nah. A reporting and analytics dashboard. Sure. CVS export. Nah, I don't need that. And then I approve the plan, right? And now again, it's going into the same flow that you saw with Lovable. And so on the right-hand side here, it's designing the full app, writing the code, building out all those files, and then I'm going to see a full visual preview of the app pretty soon. This is actually a lot faster than Lovable. Wow. Oh, yeah, okay. So we're already getting, it's kind of very similar in terms of the UI, but that's fine. I don't need something crazy or new or unique. All I want is something that satisfies my needs as a small business owner, right? So that I can just cancel my $50 a month HubSpot account, and save all that money. And so here again, I'm seeing on the dashboard, I'm seeing my total clients, active deals. This is all dummy data, of course, but once this app is finished building, I can go in, add my own data, and then start to track my clients and deals. So the agent is still building this. I expect it will be done pretty shortly in a minute here. So I'm just going to pause and wait till that happens. All right, and we're back. That took a lot longer than Lovable, but also it does seem like a much nicer and cleaner app. So again, we've got the dashboard where we can see kind of upcoming deals, deliverables, client overviews, and so on. And I can go into each category here, each entity, clients, deals, deliverables, and I can add a new one. A bit of a sort of a CSS styling issue here, some commitments, but yeah, let's see if I can add a client, and if it saves test. So I'm able to actually create the client here. Again, there's a bit of the CSS styling issues, which I can tell Replit to clean up. But essentially, now I go back to my dashboard. I see the total clients here. I can see client overview in my dashboard showing up. So this works full-on CRM that tracks all of these things, very much like Lovable. So with Lovable, I can deploy directly, and it would be accessible online for me to go and use anytime I want. And I can always come back into Replit or Lovable and ask it to update it. I could say, hey, can you add XYZ new feature? And it's just going to add that new feature, deploy it back, and it's live for me within a few minutes. All right. So that was Replit. Took a little longer, but also has a nicer, cleaner UI over here that it delivered for me. But in a sense, works the same way. You can chat with it on the left. It'll show you what it's building on the right, and then you can sort of work back and forth with it you could test it out right here in your browser, and then go back and say, hey, this thing is broken, or can you fix that, or can you add this new feature that I just thought of because I need that in my business, right? So the third and final site here to test out is bolt.new. Very similar to Lovable and Replit in its capabilities. But a cool thing here it has is import from Figma. So if you have an existing design, you can import that directly from Figma, and it will build it based on that design. But again, I'm going to give it the same prompt that I gave the other two, and let's see how it works. So starts out with the simple chat interface, and then again on the left hand side you can see what it's doing. It's creating those initial coding files, installing dependencies. It's building a Superbase database, and setting up the database here. I haven't connected to the database yet, but once it builds out the files and you can see all the file structure and the code over here, I will be able to connect my database so that it can store data. And then again, I can deploy much like I did with Lovable and Replit. So I'm going to pause here and we're going to come back and see how it does. Okay, so it's almost done here, but it kind of paused because I had to connect my Superbase account, which I hadn't done earlier. So once I connected that, it is now asking me to clarify the database schemas here. A database schema is just how do you store data in the table, right? So there's going to be a table for contacts, deals, and then security here, and then creating the data tables as well. So it wants me to review the proposed schemas and create the plan to create the table. And so I'm going to say apply changes, and it's going to actually do that. So in here, it kind of does that. And then, oh, look, it's got a problem. I am hitting some problems with the API key. I just figured it out. Unfortunately, it should have, I'm surprised that Bolt didn't pick it up on its own. I did give it the access to my Superbase, and so through the integration it should have been able to figure all of this out, and I shouldn't have to go into Superbase, create an API key and bring it back into here. I didn't have to do that with Lovable. With Replit, of course, there was no Superbase integration. It had a Postgres database built in, but disappointing that Bolt didn't figure this out. But looking at what I've got so far, again, kind of very similar in terms of like contacts, deals. I'm able to add a deal, add a contact, basic functionality. It doesn't look as nice as Lovable or Replit, but still a very functional CRM here that I could use. So that's kind of an overview of how people are building their own custom software, own custom tools with platforms like Lovable, Replit, and Bolt.new. And even though it didn't work out with Bolt because of an API key error, in general, it is really easy even if you don't know how to code and you don't know anything about front ends and back ends and databases and so on. This is still something you can do on your own, as you saw in my video, where I just asked these platforms to build me an app, and it did that. And I didn't give it a lot of direction. So imagine what would happen if you gave it more direction. A couple of ways to think about that is think about what you need the software for. What are you trying to achieve with it, right? And in this video, I've been talking about building software for personal use. We're not talking about building an entire business out of this. We're not trying to build the next Salesforce or Gmail. But if you have a need in your personal life or in your business, and you don't want to be paying for expensive, bloated software, this is perfect for you. So think about that need, right? Sort of like break down exactly how it works currently. Let's say it's tracking your clients for your consulting business. How do you track them right now? And what is the ideal process for tracking them? You want to track the contact information. You want to track your communications with them. You want to, track your project deliverables and due dates, all of that kind of stuff. Describe all of that and give it to these platforms. And these platforms can figure out the technical details. They can figure out the best practices for building the database and for connecting these various components and entities, and for displaying it on a website. And then all you have to do is deploy that, and then you can use it for yourself personally. Or let's take another example. If you are into working out in the gym, and there's 101 gym workout tracking apps, but let's just say that none of them are quite what you're looking for. You're looking for something because you have a very customized workout. You're looking for something that can count like supersets and double sets and drop sets and whatnot. So you want to build a custom app for that. You can use one of these platforms and you can say, hey, here's how I work out. Here, I track these. I track supersets. I track drop sets. These are the types of workouts I do. I wanted to automatically increase the rep count or the weights for my set once I log something, and I wanted to automatically set a timer between sets. You give it all of those instructions like you would, like you're explaining it to a friend, and it would take all of that and figure out the technical competence and build the app for you. So we're entering an age of software as a prompt, as I like to call it, where you just prompt it and it can create a software. And right now you can actually build and deploy softwares for personal usage. But I do think in the near future, we're going to be able to do this for not just personal usage, but you will be able to deploy products that you can then resell to other people or have other people use, and actually build a business out of it, right? If you have an audience or something and a lot of them are asking for a certain type of thing, you can build something for them. Or in your business, if there's things you want to do, and if we go back to the start of my video where I showed you an example of an app I built for my friend who's a speaking coach. Now that app is something that allows them to save time, but what about other ideas you may have had for scaling your business? There's a way for you to generate more leads or scale the ads that you're creating or generate more content for your social media. You can build an app to help you do that, or you can build a sort of automation to help you do that. And the technology is here for you to do that with just your prompt. So get started prompting and building your own softwares, your own custom solutions to problems that you have right now, things that you do in your business, in your life, or things that you want to do that you haven't been able to find a solution for. Go build it yourself. And if you want more on how to do this, aside from this video, read my blog post. It's on my website. I'll put the link in the description. Go check it out. And if you like this video, please comment, like, subscribe. It really helps and it allows me to create more videos like this. Or if you want me to show you how I build a certain type of tool or software, let me know your idea in the comments below and I can do that for you. Thank you for watching.